Welcome back to Postcards from Home. I'm your host Eric Gill, and earlier in the show we were talking with Mark Harrison, trail boss with Florida Ranch Adventures, and now we're going to hop aboard his armadillo as we check out the Red Stag Sanctuary.
That a lot of people, when you come out here, they don't appreciate the uniqueness of the land you're in. You see, when you're down in Miami, you're in the tropics. Once you go north of Ocala, you're in a more temperate climate. So we're in a subtropical type of environment, but the uniqueness is having both natural grassland and forested areas. You see, most areas before the civilization of man were either arid, grassland, or forested. By having both forested and grassland areas, it's actually quite unique. But it's actually ideal to have cattle. You see, the only barns we have here on the ranch are where we keep tractors or we bring the horses in. But I'm glad you all came out early this morning, so the highest probability of seeing wildlife and a lot of cattle out in the more open areas is going to be in these earlier or later times during the day. But we call these forested areas hammocks. The term hammock comes from the Seminole Indians. It means garden area. Now, the hammocks are made up primarily of our oak trees and sable palms. But we have two basic types of oak trees. We have the water oak and the live oak. When the water oak typically is the first tree in a hammock, and it'll grow very rapidly, but only lives to be about 80 years of age. As we drive around here, when you see the oak trees with a smoother bark, I'll find a good example here. See right there. When you see with that white patina on it, that's lichen. That's a good indication that your air quality is in very good shape. So your water oaks will grow rapidly, have the smoother bark, whereas the live oaks grow slower but can live to be hundreds of years of age. And with that rougher bark, they tend to have more air plants. It's a better surface for them to attach themselves. But also you'll see we'll have pine trees in here. We'll also have, Florida has maple trees. A lot of people don't know about that. And bays and other. But really the oaks and the sable palm is what dominate these hammocks. Now, these hammocks tend to be just slightly higher, maybe only about 6 inches to 12 inches higher. I think that's a rock cap that makes it higher, but before our water control system, it used to flood out here. We're about 25 miles inland, and we're about 25 feet above sea level. So this ranch and the ranches around here would flow in an easterly direction. So part of these would be the headwaters of the St. Lucie River. Now, if you went about a couple of miles west of here, your waters would then start to flow in a westerly direction that pick up on the Kissimmee River and then flow south. Now, only about 5 miles north of this ranch is the start of the St. Johns River. So you might think that this ranch, in a way, is kind of on a mini continental divide. But hydraulically, this is very important and significant land. This ranch is also a great place to really show you the 4 ecosystems within the savanna environment. And here we have our hardwood hammocks. As we go further south on the ranch, we'll go in the pine flatland area. We have a variety of different hydric wetlands. We'll have some wetlands, since we're in our dry season, it will be dry at this time of year and wet in the summertime. Whereas the middle of the ranch will go by the Cow Creek Swamp. So that's why y'all will have a good opportunity to maybe see a ditch lizard, aka an alligator. So a lot of our visitors from the north, they always want to see alligators, but in a way they really have come to see dinosaurs, because alligators, like sharks, have evolved very little in the last 100 million years because they're such good predators. Now, where you see where it's all kind of torn up in here, it looks like someone plowed that dirt. That's done by wild hogs. Unfortunately, the wild hogs, their only predators are man, and they will populate an area very quickly. The gestation of a hog is 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So if they have a litter of, say, like 8 to 10, and they can have 2 or 3 litters in a year, you can see why, unchecked, their numbers have grown very rapidly. So that's why keeping the hog population under control is very important, because unfortunately they will really do a lot of damage. But if you see this area on the oak tree, they probably did that back in November or December when the acorns were coming off the oak trees. But you know, those hogs are about as omnivorous as you're going to find of any animal. So, yeah.
Right to your right.
Yeah, see, that's a Florida whitetail deer. He's right along the fence. But anyway, the cattle used to roam wild in this area for hundreds of years. So that's why the first cattlemen of Florida were called cow hunters, because literally they would go out and hunt these wild cattle. Now, the wild cattle that were in this area were descended from the Spanish Andalusian cattle. And since it was hot and buggy, and they didn't have the modern pharmaceuticals of rhythm of internal parasites of liver flukes and worms, full grown, those cattle were only about 500 to 700 pounds. Whereas some of the cattle you'll be seeing today are a good 2 to 3 times that size. So three things that have made cattle ranching so productive in this area. First, the cattle. That back in the, call it the 1930s, yeah, see there goes a Florida whitetail. Little doe going in there. But anyway, with the cattle, they first started bringing Brahma cows in, which originate from India. And they're a tropical animal, meaning they have a short, oily hair and loose skin and a thick hide, so they're heat and insect resistant. Whereas if you've ever dealt with any Brahma cattle, you realize they're very difficult to work with. When we used to round them up, they'd try to hook your horse, or you'd have them in the cow pens, they'd chase you around. And the meat is of poor quality, and they don't make the best mothers. Whereas the Adams Ranch next door is well known in the cattle community because they've actually developed the first new breed of cattle east of the Mississippi. My uncle Bud Adams would cross the Brahma cows with the Hereford bulls. Your Herefords are your northern European animal. They have a high quality meat, they have an easy temperament to work with, and they're very good mothers. The problem with the Hereford, they've got a woolly coat, and like a dog, they'll pant through their mouth. So that's why he took the adapted traits of the Brahma and the quality meat and the temperament of the Hereford, and after many generations, he got the traits you're looking for. High quality meat animal, well adapted to this environment. And they would breed true to type, Brayford to Brayford rather than the Brahma to Hereford. And in 1969, the Brayford was recognized as the first new breed east of the Mississippi. But also the other aspect, he really followed natural selection, meaning that any of our herd animals with skin, eye, or hoof problems were eliminated from the herd and not pass those weaker traits on. Just like in nature, most adapted, most fertile animals will pass on. The weaker ones will be part of the food chain. But if you would have come out here as a pioneer, you would have seen the same vistas of grasslands and forested areas. But what's changed are these better grasses so we can raise more cattle, but also be able to have more wildlife.
If you want to experience life on a working cattle ranch without putting in the long hours and hard work, then be sure to book a tour with Florida Ranch Adventures at Red Stag Sanctuary. Located at 11124 Orange Avenue, roughly 20 miles west of Fort Pierce, Red Stag Sanctuary encompasses 8,800 acres that serve as a working cattle ranch and wildlife sanctuary. Visitors can experience this Florida outback by bus, buggy, or horseback. As you make your way through marshlands, open prairie pastures, and hardwood hammocks, you can see a host of wildlife, including deer, alligators, hawks, turkeys, and more. Visitors will learn about the history behind Florida's cattle industry, as well as the history of the Treasure Coast region dating back to the early pioneer days. Reservations for this unique wildlife tour can be made for parties as small as 5 or as large as 30. Tours range from 2.5 to 4 hours long, and packages can even include a barbecue, lunch, or dinner. To find out more about Florida Ranch Adventures, visit their website at flranchtours.com or call the staff at 772-489-3683. That's 489-3683. That's all the time we have today, but if you'd like to see previous aired episodes of Postcards from Home, visit our website at stluciecode.gov/slctv and click on the Video on Demand link. I'm your host, Eric Gill, for myself and the staff here. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you will tune in again next month as we continue to send out Postcards from Home.